Hi, I'm Richard Culatta. I am Senior Advisor to the U.S. Secretary of Education and also the Director of the Department of Education Technology at the U.S. Department of Ed.
Okay. Can you describe a little bit about your previous and current career experience?
Sure. So I've had a little bit of career ADHD, so I have maybe an unconventional path to get here. Before coming to the Department of Ed, I worked in the Senate. I was actually staff for Senator Patty Murray on education issues. Before that, I actually worked at the Central Intelligence Agency at the CIA, and I had been asked to come in to look at how we could use online learning to create a training program for the CIA officers worldwide. So it was a really interesting project. Prior to that, I helped run some schools in Latin America with a foundation called the Rose Education Foundation based here in Provo. And before that, I worked here at the McKay School of Education, helping with some of the work that the dean was doing at the time around using technology to transform and rethink how we were providing a teacher prep program.
Can you explain in your current position maybe some of the day-to-day responsibilities that you carry out?
So mostly I put out fires. That's day-to-day. There are a number of things that we work on. So as somebody who's appointed by the president, I'm largely responsible for carrying out his agenda around technology in schools. A couple main pieces of that. One is making sure all schools are connected to broadband. There are about 30% of schools that are currently connected, and he wants that to be at 99% in the next 2 years. And so we have a lot of work underway to help ensure connectivity. Also looking at how we're preparing leaders. So there's a big gap in how leaders are prepared, the vision that superintendents largely have for how technology can be transformational for learning. Not just digitize traditional practice, but really close longstanding equity gaps and make learning more personalized and engage and involve parents, that sort of thing. So that's another big piece of it. And then another piece is looking at policy. And so what are the policies that we can either put in place or change to accelerate innovation in education? An example is we have some new policy that's going to be coming out to make it easier to use openly licensed resources, open educational resources, as opposed to commercial textbooks. And so we're going to change some policies to make that easier. And then also in the higher ed space, so my role looks at both pre-K up through K-12, plus then higher ed and workplace learning. So it's the whole spectrum all the way across. And so we do some things, we do convenings where we'll bring in chief learning officers from Fortune 500 companies and say, what are you doing to prepare your employees to actually build better, stronger skills for future jobs in your company or other companies that they may go to? And how could you actually get credit for that? So anyway, there's a sort of a wide range of work that we do around trying to help shift the field.
Okay, great. Could you describe just a little bit about what you did while you were a student here in the IPT program and how that prepared you for some of these career experiences that you've had?
Sure. So I loved the chance to be in the program. I feel very blessed and honored to have the chance to have been in this program. A number of things I did. I think that if I had to just boil it down to one piece, it was the fact that I got to work on really practical, tangible projects as I went along. And so I was very involved at the time with the reaccreditation that the McKay School was going through. Actually helped redesign what are now, I think, 286 and 287 courses, the technology methods courses, and then had a chance to teach some of those. But also worked at, there was what's I think now Center for Teaching and Learning, used to be CID, back in the dark ages, and actually helping to build and design a lot of the online materials that were then being used here. So I think the value was, well, at the same time I was learning through the courses that I was taking, there was so much practical application, there were just opportunities all over the place to do that. And so that's something that I really, really value, and I don't think that I would have gotten that anywhere else. And by the way, just to be really clear, when I applied for my first, quote unquote, first job out of the program, they actually brought me on as mid-career. Because according to my resume and according to the work that I had done, I was stacking up with people who'd been working in the field for a number of years.
Just from what you've done.
Because of all of the projects and all the stuff that I got to work on while I was here. And so that's, again, I don't think that's very typical from programs, and something that I'm really grateful for.
Great, great.